comments for your comment. Oh, how's everyone doing? Ready for the Saturday chill stream? Hi. Oh, how we all doing tonight? I've got me some dinner. I'm ready to sit back and chill out with some random videos. I guess we can go ahead and get that started. Let's pause that, pause our music, and get our video going. Of course, it might help if I did this, huh? There we go. Yeah. Alright. Are we ready? Here we go.
What is something people in your fandom forget isn't actually canon, but fanon? Sometimes as fanfiction writers, we meld canon and fanon, but what is something that people in your fandom think is canon, but isn't? What are fanon things in fanfiction that have gotten written so much that people think they are actually canon? I mean, like, things people have written so much about that people just take as canonical and granted at face value without looking into it.
Yeah.
These Reddit posts are from 3 years ago, just so you know, and I know that in those 3 years, some of these fanon things have become canon, such as this example here. Blake and Yang from RWBY have no freaking relationship. I don't care how many subtle hints Rooster Teeth chucks out there. Until the bees kiss, it's not canon. Exactly. I fully believe they intend for it to be a thing, but it has not been confirmed as canon. Rooster Teeth just needs to get it over with and make them kiss. That did happen.
Well, guess what,
they
bitches?
kissed, and the fanon belief that they were definitely in love was confirmed.
Oh, how cute.
So you let me know if any of these other posts have gone from fanon to canon, and let me know your own experiences with this in your fandoms, things that people believe are canon that aren't, or things that became canon later. Finally, I can get that off my chest. Dear Transformers fandom, they are alien robots. They canonically do not have tongues. I'm not telling you what you can or cannot do in your fics, but don't come crying when official merch and shows depict them without. And no, renaming it to Glossa won't magically make one appear either. The belief that there's a thing in Miraculous Ladybug called Miraculous Cure. What are you talking about? Ladybug heals the world at the end of literally every episode. You are not telling me that's fanon. Oh
Yes,
yeah,
they
she
are.
absolutely does the
Hey,
thing,
Reveal.
but never once has it been referred to by the name everyone loves so much. An interesting one for She-Ra. The fanfiction Don't Go is almost universally viewed as canon because it's widely believed that it was written by the show's creator, due to several hints he dropped around the time it was written. One thing I've seen in the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom is that Gregory is homeless. It's never actually been confirmed if he is or not, but I personally have it as a headcanon,
Well, at
and
least
so
they're,
many people do as
confirming
well,
that
that
he is
some would
Gregory.
think it is actually canon. Wasn't he shown
the song
sleeping
You're
outside
Idol.
in
You
some
asked me
alley in
that.
one ending?
You
That
asked me
doesn't mean he's
before.
homeless.
No,
I've seen
doesn't
some
sound
people think
familiar.
that he
At
was
least the
left
title
behind by
doesn't.
his family, so
Hey,
if he's not sure how to get home, it would still make sense. Nothing has been explicitly confirmed, though. Nothing in My Hero Academia has ever said that Shinso has abusive or dead parents, or that he's been adopted by Aizawa. It is very sweet fanon. The adoption part, not the abuse part.
Oh,
but
yeah.
still fanon. In Stranger Things, Steve Harrington's parents are never shown in the show, unlike those of every other child or teenager, so fanfiction invariably depicts them as absent to the point of criminal abandonment.
Damn.
It makes for great fic and character exploration, but it's kind of funny how everyone latched onto this one explanation and went, yes, our canon now. That Gambit from X-Men's middle name is Etienne.
What?
It seems that originated from the fanfiction author Laurie MacDonald, and somebody at some point just put it into the official guide to the Marvel Universe.
Uh-oh.
Alright, gonna give one for the Legend of Zelda fandom.
Oh.
Link is not mute, and he doesn't speak with sign language.
Yeah, he clearly
Most
talks in the
games have dialogue choices. He's most of the time a silent protagonist. Also, some fanworks I've seen show Hylians and round-ear humans as different species. Differences between the two is almost never brought up in the games or manga. The only thing to note is that Link and Zelda are always reincarnated to be Hylian. At most, the games and manga treat the two subspecies of round-ear humans and Hylians like nationalities. For Among Us, the idea that imposters eat crewmates. I mean, in the game, only the bottom half of the bodies is left behind, and the imposters have a big toothy mouth in their belly, but the game never mentions what happens to the top half of the bodies. Even the Among Us community manager subscribes to this explanation, so you could say the fanon ascended to quasi-canon. Another omnipresent fanon interpretation is the idea that imposters are alien mimics. It makes more sense than the parasite alternative, but the official view in descriptions of the game is actually they're parasites.
Oh.
Starfire from the Teen Titans cartoon
Well,
doesn't refer to people as friend insert name. It's a verbal tick that got started after the season 2 finale when she talks about Terra. She says, "I shall miss you, friend." People made this into a fanon verbal tick that is not in the cartoon.
Yeah, I've never heard her do that.
In Buffy the Vampire Slayer fics, Spike exclusively using nicknames to refer to everyone, especially the same one repeatedly. While calling Dawn Niblet, Bite Size, etc., and Giles Watcher did happen, most nicknames were a one-off, situational, usually insulting thing. People having him call Terra Glinda the Good Witch being the worst offender. That one never happened. The weird thing about Glinda to me is that there actually is one instance of a character being called Glinda in the Buffyverse. It's Cordelia talking about Willow in the show Angels episode Orpheus. But it's always Terra who's Glinda in fanfiction, never Willow.
Huh.
Dean Winchester from Supernatural is not, and has never been, blonde.
Oh yeah, I've seen people
it's a
draw him
freaking
with
live-action
blonde hair.
series. How on earth do people make such an egregious mistake? Were it a book or even a manga with the covers in black and white, okay, maybe it's an honest mistake, but in a freaking audio-visual media? I don't get it. Me fucking either. I can only guess it's because the blonde and dark-haired MLM ship prototype is so popular. Castiel is also often described in fics as having raven hair,
It's
but
like a
both Dean and
dark
Castiel
brown.
are just brunette though.
Yeah.
Oikawa from
Cass is
Haikyuu
like
was never actually
dark
confirmed
brunette
to have had a
and,
prior knee injury.
Dean is
He
like
just wears two different colored knee pads.
Brownish.
This
dirty
headcanon
blonde,
was
maybe.
taken as gospel, to the point where his wiki page used to confirm this fact in the trivia section. Now it just says, "This was never stated to be a knee injury." LOL. Also from Haikyuu, Sakusa isn't a germaphobe. This is actually confirmed by the author, who says, "He's just blunt when it comes to the things he dislikes," according to his wiki page. That Clint Barton from Marvel travels in, and often hangs out in, ceiling vents.
What?
Honestly, I understand this one. It seems like something the comics version of Hawkeye would do. Less so the MCU version. And that Tim Drake, the third Robin from Batman, has a coffee addiction. The strangest part of the latter is that official DC media has started to acknowledge it, but it's been pure fanon for years. For Vocaloid, Rin and Len aren't biologically siblings. Len is Rin's male mirror image. However, in many of their songs, they are displayed as being twins. Krypton, the creators of Rin and Len, even went out of their way to state that they are not twins, and they approve of the many interpretations and representations of the two. Originally, the concept of them being distributed as twins was tossed around, but it didn't go forward with the plan. Basically, all of it is fanon. Vocaloids officially have a voice and a name, and sometimes a character design and some basic details like height, weight, and age. Everything else is fanon. For Genshin Impact, certain characters, mostly thinking of Zhongli and Xiao here, but it also happens with others, do not canonically view each other as family, nor are they blood related. Of course, if you want to headcanon the relationship that way, that's fine. But it's not canon, and shipping them is nowhere near incest.
Oh, okay.
This, even if I think it's cute sometimes, it's decidedly not cute when people use that headcanon justification to push down ships. Unless those ships would be illegal. I mean, I won't aggrieve others here for writing about it, but I definitely will avoid it myself, in favor of the popularized ships. All ghouls from Fallout eventually becoming feral is seen as canon fact rather than conjecture.
Yeah, it's not.
To be fair, plenty of people
not
in
all
the
of them
universe
do,
believe
some
this
of them
too. It could easily be true and easily be not true. The only way to know for sure is for a ghoul to survive until the heat death of the universe without going feral.
Now, to be fair though, Bethesda seems to forget a lot of their own lore, so honestly, I don't even know if they know if it's true or not.
That Miles Edgeworth from Ace Attorney adopted Kay Faraday, or that he's gay. I mean, the odds of him not being gay are extremely low, but it hasn't been stated either way in canon. Just in general, the sexuality of characters. Especially when people try to bring up evidence, which boils down to a list of stereotypes. Pretty much every handsome guy being 6'3" when they're probably far less than that in canon.
Yeah, Leon Kennedy is like 5'10", 5'9", I think.
Sans Undertale does not have nightmares. It seems like everyone takes it for granted, but canon literally never mentions it. And while I'm on the topic of Sans Undertale, people act like he's constantly aware of when resets happen, when the most he does is figure out they exist. On the same line, Papyrus isn't some naive man-child who's obsessed with spaghetti and doesn't know what death is.
What?
He has a lot more character depth and picks up on much more than he lets on. For the Undertale fandom, all of the Gaster lore, all of it. There is no void, there's no evidence he was forgotten, and
I never got into that fandom, so I don't know anything that they're talking about.
even the Mystery Man sprite in Waterfall isn't confirmed to be him. Everyone bases his fandom appearance on that sprite, but what will they do if Toby Fox reveals him as being different? Also, he's not canonically related to Sans or Papyrus. The character Wes Weston in the Danny Phantom fandom. I watched the show all the way through and didn't remember seeing him pop up at all, but in a majority of Danny Phantom fanfic, he's there, so I just assumed that I missed him or something. Found out later that I was right, and he was never actually canon.
Oh?
Briefs as a last name for Bulma in Dragon Ball. Dr. Brief, with no S, is his first name, not his last name.
Oh.
Bulma never had a last name in canon.
Really? Even, like, official stuff talking about the characters always refer to her as Bulma Briefs. Like, really? Is that true? That's not actually her last name? That is weird. Wow. I swear I've heard, like, official capacities. Yeah, that's a surprise to me, too. Right? Even, like I said, everything that, like, official, like, articles and stuff like that, when they talk about it, they always refer to her as Bulma Briefs. Wow, wow. That's all I can say to that is wow.
And neither did anyone else, like Bikini, Trunks, or Bola. But Fanon, and the character tags, and some video games have added Briefs with an S as their last names. Bulma Briefs, Trunks Briefs.
Official projects kind of adopted it.
What's Dr. Brief's first name then? And in that case, how come his wife also has the same naming convention? Mrs.
I had
Afton
heard
from
them
Five
say
Nights
the
at
Breach
Freddy's
family
isn't named
assumed that
Clara.
was the last
We don't
name.
even know if there was Mrs. Afton technically. We can infer William was most likely married, but there's no proof other than 3 kids. Oh, and the crying child does not have a name. It's not Evan or Christopher. He doesn't have one. For Pride and Prejudice, that Mr. Darcy's cousin, Colonel Fitzwilliam's first name is Richard. It was used in the 1995 miniseries, but he isn't named in the Austen novel. Very widely used in Jane Austen fanfiction now. I've seen a comment on someone's story in the past where they corrected the author for using a name other than Richard.
No, shut
It drives me
up.
nuts
Oh
that
my
people
god.
think the Pixar theory
Do
is
not
canon.
do that.
There were headlines
wrong
once
with
saying
you?
it was confirmed by Pixar, when really, all they confirmed was the obvious fact that the movies contain references to each other. That doesn't make the theory connecting them all canon.
Wait, there are people who think that it's
There's a
canon?
character that everyone called Granny, and we never had her real name. The fandom decided to give her a name, and everybody just went along with it. Me, I found out not long ago the name they gave her wasn't canon. There's a minor character in one of my fandoms who everyone writes as having red hair. Her hair color is never mentioned in canon, but everyone who writes her, including me, has her as being a redhead. The character Sebastian Moran never actually appeared in the BBC Sherlock show.
That's right.
Something I learned from reading one of these threads a bit ago. And immediately had to Google because of course that had to be wrong.
Nope, he never officially showed
Oh
up.
yeah, and so many people fan cast Michael Fassbender as
Uh-huh.
Sebastian Moran. For a while I was 100% convinced I had seen him in the show, but couldn't remember which episode.
Damn, y'all got Mandela affected.
In Hazbin Hotel, Angel doesn't canonically have a contract with the Overlord Valentino. It seems to just be an abusive relationship. But everyone seems to write him as having some sort of soul contract.
Now, I remember there was a theory that they were going to make Mary, since they had her being kind of a bad guy. People were theorizing maybe they're going to combine Mary and Sebastian Moran into one character. I thought that could work, but no, they didn't do that. Instead, they decided to sabotage their own show and queer bait us and give us the middle finger on that, because they just couldn't stand the fact that a lot of women were watching their show. No lie, that's why they sabotaged the end of that show.
Contract? Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy doesn't actually like Yuffie. At the end of Reminisce of Final Fantasy VII, he's clearly annoyed by her to the point where he leaves Cloud this message. Tell Yuffie to stop calling me. This is my phone and she has no right to call it.
Damn.
Sorry, Euphantine shippers. Maybe Yuffie does want to get to know him by calling him all the time, or maybe she's just a chatterbox just wanting to be friends. Either way, he wants nothing to do with her.
Damn, turned her
Agreed.
down flat.
Like, he clearly doesn't hate, treat horribly, or want her to die. He just wants her to go away and leave him alone. He wants most people to leave him alone.
I was about to say, he looks like the kind of
I
guy
have some
that
theories as to how this trend came to be. I think
know,
Euphantine became a
loner.
thing because a lot of girls found Final Fantasy VII when they were young, fell in love with Vincent, and Yuffie was the closest person to them in age that they could use as a self-insert. This is certainly
see
what
that, yeah.
my friends and I did. In Fanon, Percy Jackson's some kind of ambiguously brown. Specifically, he's olive-skinned and Mediterranean.
That makes
But in
sense.
canon, Percy Jackson's white.
Oh.
The short version of this is, it never says he's olive-skinned or looks Mediterranean in the books. That's literally just a thing that people made up and got spread around, to the point where even the fandom wiki has this piece of misinformation. People also say
Outside.
he looks like his dad, and his dad's a Greek god, so therefore that means Percy looks Greek.
Uh-oh.
And some Greeks are brown, so therefore Percy's brown. That's the shortest way to put it, since there's so
I
many
mean, I
reaches
could
in
see
this
where they
fanon.
could make the connection.
But the
yeah.
gods don't have ethnicities, and literally no other demigods are ethnically part Greek. This only applies to Percy, because
Gods don't have ethnicity. Somebody needs to tell those people who criticize 1995 movie rating that.
this idea only comes up when attempting to justify him being brown as canon. The books don't really mention his ethnicity at all. The most it says is in the 4th book, where his skin is described as pinkish. Depending on how much you consider the Harry Potter movies canon, and I don't, Hermione did not have the word mudblood carved into her arm. As someone who never saw the movies, I always wondered where that came from for years until someone said it happened in book 7. Then I reread that part over and over and argued
nope.
It didn't happen until someone said it was just a movie thing. Something very personal to me, but I sometimes forget that my original character antagonist isn't actually in Frozen. She's real to me, damn it.
What?
I feel this. I sometimes forget my original characters aren't real, but god damn it, I commissioned art of them, so they are real to me.
It's still real to me, damn it! Yeah. If they say good things, yes, I'll take their word for it. But if they say bad things, we quote, oh my god, I love it when names don't come to me. Oh my god. Anyways, we quote him when he says, oh, Nick Fury. I don't know why his name wasn't coming to me, but yeah, we quote Nick Fury. I understand Council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Thank you for watching, and especially thanks to my Patreon members, my Little Ruse, Nebulatic Vexen, Donka42, John Huang, Laser Scorpio, Night Avenger, Mintara, Somnophobic Danny, Savage Otters, Falsey, Terabyte AIX, Kestrel, Dragonborn Canid, Angie Ender, and Marbsk. Thank you so much for extra support on Patreon. It means the world to me. Hope you guys are doing well. I really appreciate you, and I hope there's some good things happening in your life right now. Give yourself a hug from me to you. The same goes to my YouTube channel members, my Mini Ruse, Foxstar Killer, Rainy Cant, and Elelawin North 24. Thank you so much for extra support. I'm so glad to have you be a part of my YouTube channel. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. I send all my best wishes your way, and just keep on being awesome and enjoying life as best you can. And thank you to everyone else for watching, of course. I can never say it enough. I just hope I entertained you. And have a great day or night, and I will see you in the next video, I hope. If not, that's okay, at least you were here for this one. But I do hope to see you again, and I hope to put a smile on your face, so that's all for now, but I'll be back.
Okay.
We make the happy stuff. What do you need? Jet, Psycho, a little Med-X to ease the pain? Bring it! Nah, man, more like drug suppliers. Yeah.
Chems were never just medicine. They were experiments that turned into habits, and habits that turned into control. Before the war, companies like MedTech Laboratories and Daddy-O Pharmaceuticals made them for profit and progress. They said they were building a better world, but what they really built were people who couldn't stop using their products. Painkillers that made soldiers feel nothing. Stimulants that made students forget to eat or sleep. Combat enhancers that stripped fear from the brain. Every one of them came with a promise, and a cost that no one wanted to talk about. MedTech made painkillers like Med-X, but they didn't warn how fast the body could fall apart when the drug wore off. They made Mentats to make people think better, but they caused dependency and memory loss. Buff-Out was made for athletes, and Psycho was built for soldiers. Both of them made the heart beat faster than it should. These companies used human testing, military funding, and cheap marketing to spread their products. Hospitals kept them stocked, schools handed them out, and the army injected them straight into the troops wearing power armor. When the bombs fell, those drugs were in every city and every home medicine cabinet. Raiders and chem cooks took what was left and made it worse. The Great Khans and the Mojave turned broken lab tech and old formulas into street drugs like Jet, Rebound, and Turbo. The Wasteland learned that chems could give power for a few minutes, stronger hits, faster reflexes, sharper focus, but the crash could tear your body apart. Addiction isn't just a risk, it's built into every formula. The headaches, shaking hands, and muscle spasms that follow are what keep people buying and killing for the next hit. You can see what these drugs do to people. Jet addicts twitch and mumble to themselves, lost in the rush that never lasts. Psycho users tear through fights until their hearts stop. Buff out abusers look like walking muscle spasms, skin stretched tight and breathing heavy. Even Mentats, the smart chem. It leaves users staring blankly when the clarity fades. The drugs trick the brain into thinking you're fine while your body burns itself out. The more people take, the less they care about what it's doing to them. And no one controls it now. The NCR calls chem dealing a crime, but their own soldiers use medics in the field. Caesar's Legion bans everything from jet to stim packs, calling them signs of weakness. Then turns around and keeps painkillers for Caesar himself. Doctors in Diamond City sell them to survivors, raiders cook them in back rooms, even vault dwellers rely on them when fights get bad. Every faction uses chems for the same reason, because they work. Chems make you think you're winning. They make pain vanish, fear disappear, and judgment shut off. They make killing easier and rest unnecessary. Then when they wear off, the body remembers everything at once. The shakes, the pain, the confusion, and the need to take more to just feel normal again. 200 years later, chems are still running the wasteland. Medtech is gone, and the world that made them is gone, but their drugs survived. Raiders and soldiers are still using the same formulas that killed people long before the bombs. Chems don't care about sides or morals. They're perfectly designed to keep people attached, and breaking those same people down until nothing's left.
Before Psycho turned soldiers into berserkers, and before Jet became the Wasteland's working class fix, there was Buffout, the pre-war world's super steroid of choice. Packaged in tidy bottles of 50 tablets, Buffout was marketed as a miracle performance enhancer that boosted strength, reflexes, and endurance to superhuman levels. It wasn't just some shady back alley chem though, this shit was everywhere. Originally designed for athletes, Buffout quickly became a staple for anyone chasing physical excellence. Pre-war competitors secretly popped these pills to sprint longer, hit harder, and train less. What started as an underground doping trend quickly spread to amateurs and even some branches of the US military. Soldiers used it to endure harsh training regimens and boost combat performance, though, unlike Psycho, Buffout was never officially sanctioned by the brass. Still, its effects were too potent to ignore. Buffout's popularity carried through the Great War's firestorm and straight into the post-apocalyptic era. In a world where strength often means survival, these little tablets can turn an average wastelander into a powerhouse that's capable of smashing through robots, raiders, or the occasional super mutant. Because of its power and addiction risk, Buffout is often banned in regulated spaces. Vault City strictly forbids it, and even New Reno's casinos and bars won't let patrons indulge while gambling or brawling. After all, a Buffout bar fight would be more than your typical bar fight. Interestingly, Buffout isn't just about strength and increasing brute force like you'd expect when you first try it. In the right hands, it's also medicinal. Despite being addictive, it can treat rickets in children when administered carefully, which is a rare case of a wasteland chem with legitimate medical applications. Over time, various hybridized Buffout variants emerged, blending its steroidal power with other chems to create potent combinations. Bufftats, which is Buffout and Mentats, is a mental and physical cocktail granting +3 strength, +3 endurance, +65 HP, and +3 perception. This would have been great in college if you needed to hit the gym and cram for finals simultaneously. And we also have Psycho Buff, which is Buffout and Psycho. This was a military favorite since this variant ups damage by 25% while giving +3 strength and +3 endurance. The more you think about it, it makes sense why the military would use this. Then we have Buffjet, which if you couldn't tell by the name is Buffout with some jet. And this was introduced in Fallout 4. This mix keeps the strength bonuses but adds time dilation, slowing the world for 15 seconds. It's raw power infused with bullet time precision. Buffout is as iconic to Fallout as Stimpaks or Radaway. It represents that old world obsession with performance. The idea that with the right pill, you can skip the grind and become something greater. Truly, it was a modern day hack to winning. But like so many chems, its promise comes with a cost. Addiction, side effects, and the temptation to rely on shortcuts instead of strength earned the hard way. In Fallout 2, Eric in Broken Hills even claims that Buffout will make your mind suffer, a line that isn't mechanically implemented but narratively nails what Buffout represents. It's power without patience and its strength with a price tag. Whether you're a pre-war athlete chasing records or a post-war scavenger brawling through raider camps, Buffout has been fueling physical dominance for over 2 centuries, and clearly it's not slowing down anytime soon.
Med-X started out as something meant to help people, not hurt them. Before the war, it was sold under a clean scientific name by MedTech Laboratories, one of the biggest medical suppliers in America. But this name wasn't always canon. Med-X was supposed to be called morphine, a heavy opioid killer strong enough to numb almost any injury. Bethesda originally named it morphine in Fallout 3, but then it was renamed Med-X globally after the Australian ratings ban. What's funny is that some terminal data, behind the scene notes, and editor IDs in Fallout 3 still listed as morphine. Military issued Med-X in field kits. Hospitals kept it on hand for trauma cases, and MedTech made sure it was everywhere by the time the bombs fell. The chem worked by binding to the brain's opioid receptors, blocking the body's ability to feel pain. It doesn't heal anything. It just convinced your brain that everything was fine even when it wasn't. That made it priceless on the battlefield, but also terrifying.
Vicodin.
Soldiers could walk through gunfire without realizing how badly they were hurt. They'd keep moving until their bodies gave out. 5 doses could cause a fatal overdose, and 15 meant certain death. But in war, dying quietly was better than screaming in pain. MedTech's product made that possible, and the military used it like it was just another tool. We know that power armor used during the resource wars had automatic injectors that released Med-X when the operator's health dropped too low. Later, stealth suits also did the same thing, dispensing it whenever the wearer was badly injured. It made soldiers nearly unstoppable, but it also meant the armor itself could cause addiction. Every injection made the body need more, and withdrawal hit hard. Contracted pupils, shakes, spasms, those were the signs of someone who couldn't go without it, and MedTech never talked about that part. Before the bombs, Med-X wasn't limited to the army. MedTech's other products like Radaway and Mentats were sold to civilians, and it's even heavily implied Med-X was too. It was one of the most common medical chems in circulation. First aid kits, medical stations, and clinics all stocked it. Official records call it one of the more widespread pre-war chems. That means it wasn't just soldiers using it. Ordinary people likely had access to it for pain management, and addiction came right along with it. When the Great War ended, the company that made it had vanished, but its creation survived better than almost anything else. Med-X syringes stayed sealed in clinics, vaults, and hospitals across America. 200 years later, Wastelanders still use them. Raiders or settlers, it doesn't really matter who. Everyone knows Med-X dulls pain and keeps you moving, even when you shouldn't be. It's sold by doctors like Doc Crocker in the Commonwealth or even Doc Anderson. Or you'll just find it in first aid boxes, chem stashes, or on corpses of people who relied on it a little too much. In the post-war world, it's just part of survival. Wastelanders who use it regularly risk the same things the soldiers did centuries earlier. A 10 to 25% addiction rate, depending on the variant. There's tremors, mental fog, and a loss of focus when they don't have it. For a lot of people, that trade-off is worth it. Pain is everywhere, and Med-X makes it disappear, at least for a little while. For us, using it makes sense when you're pinned down by raiders or torn up by ghouls, or you're just trying to buy time in a fight you shouldn't have survived. It takes the edge off and dulls everything, and you keep standing when most people would drop. But it's easy to start relying on that, always taking it before a fight, during one, and then again after. Before long, your strength stops coming from skill or armor. It comes from the needle. In every wasteland, from the capital to the Mojave to Appalachia, Med-X shows us how far people will go to avoid pain. It's one of the few pre-war drugs that never lost its purpose. Med-X built something so powerful that when the world ended, their product didn't. MedTech Laboratories wasn't just in the business of medicine. It was in the business of ideas. Mentats were one of the biggest products, sold everywhere from hospitals to high schools. They were small red tablets that promised sharper thinking and faster recall. According to pre-war records, they became popular with students, scientists, and creative types who wanted to expand the mind. The Fallout Bible even notes that consumers use them for inspiration and problem solving, not just study or work. But I will say the Bible is considered canon-ish, so whenever I reference it, I'll let you know. The active ingredient was a nootropic compound that boosted the brain's processing speed and memory formation for a short time. The effects came quickly, and so did the crash. Once it wore off, users were left foggy, tired, and irritable. The mental boost was temporary, but the damage it caused over time wasn't. Regular use led to migraines, dependency, and in some cases, lasting cognitive decline. The Fallout Bible mentions that adolescents who took Mentats showed permanent changes in intelligence, in some cases a genuine increase, but it also warns that overuse could lead to neurological disorders. Mentats made people smarter for a while, but they also made them need the chem to think clearly at all. MedTech's marketing pushed Mentats hard before the war, Terminals from Shaw High School in Fallout 4 confirmed that the company deliberately seeded schools with free samples. Principal Ronald Tanner worked with a medtech rep named Rusty Burton to distribute them through the library's book return system. These were drugs being passed out to teenagers under the label of study aids. To make them more appealing, MedTech began producing flavored versions, grape, berry, and orange Mentats, with the flavor name still seen across multiple games. Their goal was simple: get young users hooked early. The Fallout Bible also describes MedTech's business strategy. They intentionally designed Mentats to be addictive so they could sell more of their own product, Fixer, a chem that's meant to cure addiction. And it was a profitable cycle. They created the problem and then sold the solution. Fallout 3 also features pre-war radio ads of children talking about using Mentats for better grades, showing just how normal the chem had become. There were even promotions at the National Archives where participants could win free Mentats by completing a quiz. After the bombs, we know MedTech vanished. But all their pills didn't. Sealed tins and cardboard packs survived in clinics, labs, and homes all over the country. Wasteland chemists learn how to replicate the formula. In Fallout 2, the professor in Broken Hills brags that he rediscovered how to mass produce them. 2 centuries after the war, Mentats remain one of the most common chems in existence, and their formulas even evolved. Party Time Mentats in the Mojave blend charisma and focus. Berry and grape versions in the Commonwealth and Appalachia enhance intelligence and social skill. The core idea never changed though. It's a pill that makes you feel smarter than you are. Post-war users chase that same clarity the old world once promised. The body adapts fast, and when it does, the brain demands more. Withdrawal causes confusion and headaches that make it impossible to think straight. Raiders and settlers alike use them before deals, battles, or hard decisions. For a few minutes, Mentats can make anyone feel like a genius. But when the haze fades, the mind that's left behind isn't sharper, it's dependent. For us, Mentats are the kind of chem you reach for when you need to be the smartest person in the room. One dose sharpens perception, clears the head, and makes every word feel calculated. It's useful when you're trying to outtalk a raider boss, negotiate a deal, or search a ruin for something everyone else missed. In short term, Mentats can make you think faster. Long term, they make you wonder if you can think at all without them. Across every region, the capital Wasteland, Mojave, Commonwealth, and Appalachia, Mentats still carry that image of progress. They represent the pre-war belief that intelligence could be engineered, that human flaws could be fixed with chemistry. The Fallout Bible frames them as a product of arrogance more than evil. MedTech really believed they were improving humanity, but in reality, they built a dependency that outlasted civilization.
One of Fallout's finest addictive chems is natural in origin. It's so natural that it grows right out of the desert soil. Coyote tobacco chew is one of those pure homegrown stimulants harvested from wild and domestic coyote tobacco plants scattered across the Mojave. Chewed raw, this reinvigorating plant delivers a mild but noticeable kick, +1 to perception and agility, and in hardcore mode, it reduces sleep by 30 points. It's perfect for long-term treks under the burning sun or late-night recon missions when sleep is an absolute luxury. But like many wasteland vices, it has a cost. Prolonged use can lead to addiction, sapping perception and charisma by 1 when withdrawal kicks in. All in all, it's relatively subtle compared to chems like Jet or Psycho, but enough to dull your edge if you rely on it too often. If I had to take a shot in the dark based on these drawbacks, I'd assume it's basically today's weed. And it kinda even looks like it. Coyote tobacco chew isn't just a chem though, since it can also be a crafting ingredient. With the Honest Hearts DLC installed, it can be brewed into black coffee, combining old world morning luxuries with frontier survivalism. Unlike the chew itself, coffee made with it isn't addictive. It's a clever workaround for couriers who want the perk without the habit. The plant is scattered across the region in abundance too. Westside alone boasts over 24 plants, while places like Good Springs, Wolfhorn Ranch, Boulder City, and Ranger Station Echo have their own hidden patches if you know where to look. And of course, in true Fallout fashion, Coyote Tobacco gets its own moment of badassery. In one of Boone's possible endings, he spits a wad of tobacco into Legate Lanius's eyes, in front of the entire Legion army.
Driven mad by Caesar's victory at Hoover Dam and unable to escape his memories, Boone staged a suicide mission against the Legate. Fighting as he wished he would have fought on the day of his wife's death, he brought down scores of legionaries before being caught. Before his crucifixion, he was brought before the Legate, who expressed his admiration for Boone's reckless abandon. Boone spat tobacco in his eye, for all of Caesar's armies to see.
In my opinion, it's one of the most defining.
Boone's a bad mamma jamma. It's not just purple handgun. It has a high rate of headshots on not only zombies, The high rate of critical hits on other zombies, including zombie dogs, hunters, and even... Ah, okay. So that's what its special stats are. It's more powerful and has higher, like, critical hit. Nice. So it's not just a pretty coat of paint.
Vegas. And for a fun fact, if you didn't already know, the game director Joshua Sawyer named it after an entry in Growing Food in the High Desert Country, where this Latin name here, which means coyote tobacco, is a real desert plant. In the Mojave, though, it's more than a botanical wonder. It's a simple addictive tool for staying sharp in a world that never sleeps.
Because I knew it was kind of a special...
Some chems in the Fallout universe are designed to fuel aggression, turning soldiers into raging beasts or athletes into steroid-pumped monsters.
That's nice.
Calmex, though, based on the name alone, is different. It's quiet, subtle, a pre-war soft tranquilizer that doesn't numb pain or give you superhuman brawn, but instead strips away distractions, sharpening the senses that matter most when survival hangs by a thread. Marketed before the
only handicap is that cannot use enhanced handgun bullets like Samurai Edge or Sig Pro handguns. Jill and Nikolai both use. Ah, well.
The Great War as a prescription-grade relaxant, Calmex offered just enough sedation to dull anxiety without knocking the user unconscious. Ironically, while it calms the body, it also heightens awareness. Users experience boost to perception and agility, while sneak attack damage doubles. It's a perfect chem for thieves or for anyone who prefers to strike from the shadows rather than storm the gates. Of course, in Fallout 4 survival mode, Calmex shows its drawbacks. Using it increases thirst by 50 points and raises disease risk by 7%. So even these light tranquilizers come with hidden costs. Addiction is always lurking too. Then there's the elusive Calmex Silk, introduced in Fallout 4 Nuka World. It looks just like the regular version, but with one powerful change. It boosts luck by 3, on top of Calmex's baseline bonuses. And unlike most chems, it can't be crafted. To get it, you've got to deal with this guy, the Nuka Town Market's shady dealer. Hand him 10 pieces of bloodworm meat and he'll pay you back in silk. After that, he'll restock it every time you leave and re-enter the market. It's a solid wasteland exchange where you trade fresh meat for raw distilled advantage. Interestingly, Calmex Silk also slipped into Fallout 76's files. Early PC players managed to grab it through the developer test cell exploits at launch, where it carried the same effects as in Fallout 4. Surprise, surprise. Though it's unobtainable by normal means, its existence hints at Bethesda's plans to keep Calmex's legacy alive across titles. Calmex even found its way into Fallout the board game, where it takes on a slightly different role. Instead of stat bonuses, using Calmex during a test or fight guarantees an extra hit when perception or agility is involved. But as the digital games, there's a catch. You've got to pass an endurance check afterward or you become addicted. Addiction in the board game means you can't discard Calmex and you'll have to pay 1 bottle cap just to ready it again. Even in tabletop form, Calmex captures the essence of Fallout chems, short-term power at long-term cost. In the end, Calmex is a chem for specialists. It doesn't make you stronger or more resilient in the traditional sense, but it gives you an edge when stealth, precision, and luck decide the outcome of a fight.
Purple haze.
As we know
purple
with
haze.
medics,
Okay.
the U.S. Army
I
wanted
was like, he had
soldiers who could
something
fight
purple
longer,
about
hit
him,
harder,
right? What
and
is
ignore
it?
pain entirely.
That's what
to
it was,
get that,
purple
they worked with a
haze.
private research branch run by General Constantine Chase, who oversaw development of a new combat stimulant called Psycho. It started as an experimental amphetamine, something almost like but legally distinct from methamphetamine. It was made to make troops unstoppable. Logs from Operation Anchorage confirmed the chem was rushed into service during the Alaskan campaign, which was approved by Chase and Dr. Adrian Adami, even though clinical trials were still incomplete. The delivery system was unique, a red-tinted injector that mixed volatile chemicals seconds before entering the bloodstream. The result was a sudden surge in aggression, pain suppression, and adrenaline. Soldiers on Psycho could charge machine gun nests without flinching. They felt invincible, and for a few minutes, they almost were. But that same drug that dulled fear also dulled judgment. Commanders quickly learned that once dosed, these troops were nearly impossible to control. The Fallout 2 official strategies and secrets guide describe them as tough but uncontrollable. Side effects were severe from the start. The stimulant could trigger fatal heart attacks in users with weak hearts, something still seen later in Fallout games where NPCs die instantly if exposed to Psycho. Prolonged use led to aggression, paranoia, and even eventually full-blown
Ow,
psychosis.
buddy.
The
Why you
Anchorage
bite
holotape
me?
from Fallout 3 has Dr. Adami
about
admitting she hopes her Hippocratic Oath still means something after authorizing the drug's use.
Why you got a hold of my arm? Why you bite me?
Positions log. Dr. Adrian Adami,
Ow.
United States Army, Anchorage, Alaska, forward base. Considering what's at
Now he's
stake,
giving
General
me the
Chase and I
rabbit
both
kicks.
feel the chem code name Psycho can be of significant use during this operation.
What a...
I've read the early clinical trials, and there are certainly
Well,
some
he's trying to
possible
play
side
me.
effects.
That guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
And of course, addiction. But the adverse effects do seem limited. Okay, I do realize the chem was developed by Chase's R&D division. But if the thing works, it works. Can we really afford to be picky at this point? Some of these ground pounders have family in Anchorage. I'll give them any boost I damn well can. I just hope my Hippocratic Oath is still speaking to me when this whole mess is over with.
Clearly, we have a moral cost behind its creation. By the time of the Great War, it's implied that Psycho's use had expanded beyond military testing and was no longer fully contained. The military used it for human wave assaults, and supply leaks likely carried doses beyond combat zones. According to the Fallout Bible, Psycho was created during a period of military desperation, near the end of the Anchorage campaign, a last-ditch effort to hold the line at any cost. After the bombs, the recipe survived, passed down through raiders and chem cooks who valued anything that gave an edge in a fight. In Fallout 4, Psycho is described as a mixture of military-grade compounds blended with hubflower extract, something the post-war wasteland learned to recreate. Raiders use it constantly because it takes away their hesitation and fear. Characters like Kate show what that kind of dependency looks like. Years of use leave her immune to normal detox treatments, until advanced Vault-Tec equipment is used to cure her. The drug burns both body and mind. She even describes the injections as physically painful from the acid content. Variants appeared as the wasteland improvised. Slasher combines Psycho with Med-X. Psycho Jet fused it with Jet to slow time and boost strength. And Psycho Buff added Buff
Dude,
out for
how did
raw
you
endurance. Every version kept the same core idea.
Just
Turn the
eat
body into a
that,
weapon by shutting down
mini nuke.
restraint. Chronic users develop dementia, internal organ damage, and irreversible aggression.
Oh my
At
God.
advanced stages, even a Dickdoll or Fixer can't fully break the addiction. When we use it, Psycho isn't one of the chems you take lightly. It's the last resort, the one you pull out when you're cornered, outnumbered, and running on instinct. Injecting it floods your system, steadies your aim, and it draws out pain until what's left is raw aggression. The world narrows to a fight in front of you. It can save your life, and your battle shouts turn feral.
Fucking cow!
All restraint just disappears. Keep using it though, and it stops being a boon. You stop choosing to fight harder, you just need to. And that's exactly what the pre-war army built it for. The
Hence why
government was
it's
willing to
called
erase empathy
Psycho.
and reason just to build a better
turns you
soldier.
into one.
The Fallout Bible frames Psycho's creation as part of the military's declining ethics during the Anchorage campaign. Science and morality traded for short-term victory. 2 centuries later, the same red syringe is still passed around the wasteland, promising strength and leaving absolute chaos behind. But don't you just love it? Rebound is one of the Mojave's lesser-known chems, but it traces back to the same addiction cycle that made Jet so common after the war. It's a liquid cocktail stored in a metal hip flask with glass vials strapped to the side. Tubes feed the drug through a needle at the top, delivering a steady dose instead of one big hit. Where Jet gives an instant rush, Rebound spreads it out, keeping your reflexes sharp and your energy burning for a full minute. No one really knows who designed it, but the look of the device tells you it's a wasteland creation, not a pre-war medtech product. It does kind of feel cobbled together, the kind of thing chem
Yeah, it's
dealers or
kinda
mercenaries
just
might have built to stretch their
jerry-rigged,
Jet
slapped
supply.
together.
Notes in the Fallout New Vegas files show that Rebound uses Jet's addiction profile, which means it might be chemically similar. It's possibly a diluted or reformulated version mixed with adrenaline or other stimulants. Basically, it's Jet made to last longer. Rebound's main appeal is control. It doesn't hit as hard, but it keeps the user alert and moving. That makes it popular with gunmen, bounty hunters, and anyone who needs to stay fast on their feet. Its slow release avoids the immediate crash of Jet, but the risk of addiction doesn't go away. Using both at once, Jet for burst, Rebound for sustain, gives a powerful edge in combat, and that's why it shows up in stashes across the Mojave, and even in remote places like the Divide and Big MT. It's the kind of chem born from scavengers trying to improve on something that was already dangerous, and it worked. Rebound's continuous stimulant effect keeps the body running past exhaustion. Over time, that constant strain does the same thing all chems do. It burns the user out. For the Courier, Rebound is a chem for endurance. It doesn't give that instant jolt Jet is known for, but instead it keeps your reflexes alive longer, your hands steadier, and your focus on the fight. It's useful when you need to stay moving through a long gunfight or chase, but it comes with the same risk Jet always has: dependency. The line between control and compulsion gets thinner each time you use it. Rebound might keep you running, but it also makes it harder to stop.
The jet
Some
will
chems
make
in
you
Fallout
jittery.
promise strength, some promise speed, but Day Tripper promises escape. Before the Great War, this mild hallucinogen was marketed as
Oh, it's
happiness
like
in a bottle. It was a way for everyday
LSD.
Americans to take the edge off a world that was quickly unraveling. Housed in bright green bottle decorated with flowers, Day Tripper boosts charisma and luck by 3 points, but lowers strength by 2, reflecting its tranquilizing floaty high. Day Tripper was a pre-war cultural phenomenon, cutting across class lines. It was taken by conspiracy theorists,
edibles.
students at CIT, married couples looking to
yeah,
unwind,
CBD.
and veterans returning from the Anchorage campaign who struggled with PTSD. The drug induced a mellow, euphoric state
Okay,
that
so I
made
guess,
socializing
CBD 's a
easier
good
and anxieties
comparison.
fade away, at least temporarily. Physical tasks became harder, sure, but when your mind's drifting through a pleasant hallucination, lifting heavy things isn't really the point. During the final decades before the Great War, with food riots, the Sino-American War, and the collapse of social order, Day Tripper's popularity skyrocketed. It became a shared escape valve for a society on the brink, equal parts party favor and coping mechanism. Unlike stronger chems, Day Tripper could be combined with other substances fairly safely, though doing so dramatically increased addiction risk. Overindulgence then and now can lead to full-blown hallucinations. After the Great War, it remained popular for the same reason. Sometimes people just needed to forget. Wastelanders continue to seek it out, not for combat enhancement, but for those rare moments of levity in an otherwise brutal existence where everyone is surrounded by radroaches or worse. This drug is fortunately found scattered throughout the Commonwealth, stowed away in bathrooms, old bars, behind cash registers, in raider dens, and even in a broken toilet at Hallucigen Inc. Diamond City chemists and good neighbor dealers keep it in stock, and if you're lucky, you'll find a bottle resting next to a skeleton who probably went out with a smile. Mechanically, Day Tripper carries a 35% addiction chance, and withdrawal lowers both luck and charisma by 1 point until treated. But lore-wise, it's one of the few chems that reveals a softer side of pre-war America, a population chasing good vibes while the world burned around them. In Fallout, Day Tripper is a time capsule of a society that wanted to believe that a pill could make everything better. For some, maybe it did, at least for a little while. If there's one chem that truly defines the Fallout wasteland, it's Jet. Psycho might make soldiers scream louder, and Buff Out might make them punch harder. But Jet rewires reality itself. It's the chem that turned entire towns into attics, built empires for crime families, and spread from one coast to the other like a stimulant-fueled wildfire. Jet's origins are equal parts disgusting and genius. The most common form comes from the fumes of Brahmin shit. Wastelanders get high by inhaling aerosolized cow poop, and although it sounds like a joke, this mutated extract acts like a powerful methamphetamine when inhaled, triggering endorphin surges and giving users an intense rush of energy, alertness, and euphoria. For a few fleeting minutes, time stretches, reflexes sharpen, and reality bends in a way that makes the brutal wasteland almost tolerable. Almost. While there's evidence that some form of Jet existed before the bombs fell, its modern legacy begins in New Reno, early 23rd century, with one name: Myron, a teenage chem prodigy and pervert with a massive ego and a talent for manipulation.
See, we started experimenting with the Brahmin shit as fertilizer for the shrooms. Except get this, then we noticed the slaves working the fertilizer vats were getting high from the fumes.
This kid became the Mordino crime family's golden boy. At the time, the Mordinos were selling peyote-based hallucinogens, but Big Mordino wanted something stronger, something he could use to control the mining town of Redding, and that's where Myron delivered. Basing his research on contaminated pre-war protein extracts that Brahmin had metabolized over centuries, he noticed that slaves tending Brahmin fertilizer were getting high just by inhaling the fumes. After hundreds of test subjects, many of whom died of heart attacks and hemorrhages, he finally cracked the formula. The result was a hyper-addictive inhalant,
I'm
cheap to
reading
make,
your
and
message.
nearly impossible to resist.
Monster Mash, but
Myron
it's
refined
button mash.
it, packaged it into
Very
neat little
clever.
inhaler canisters, and gave Big Jesus Mordino exactly the weapon he needed. By 2241, Jet was flooding Redding.
You
Miners once
silly,
independent
silly boy.
became chemically enslaved. Entire supply chains developed just to keep the town hooked. Myron's version was so potent that standard addiction cures like Fixer or Addict Doll didn't work. The only effective counter was a brutal endorphin-blocking treatment that made withdrawal feel like rad scorpion venom coursing through your veins.
Damn.
After the Chosen One's intervention and the spread of a Jet antidote, the Mordinos collapsed, but Jet didn't die with them. Its ease of manufacture made it inevitable. Any half-decent chemist with access to fertilizer could whip up their own batch in the dirtiest backroom lab imaginable. From the Great Khans in Red Rock Canyon to junkies in the Capital Wasteland, Jet became a cultural constant. Post-war Jet is typically sold in small disposable
make you
capsules meant for
jittery.
metered dosed inhalers. You pop a canister, huff deeply, let it settle in your lungs, and seconds later, you're flying. For bulk buyers like Redding's operations in the 2240s, Jet comes unprocessed and must be carefully refined into user doses. Mess that up, and contamination risks make the drug even deadlier. Some Wastelanders even mix Jet into saline solutions for intravenous injection, though inhalation remains the fastest and most iconic method. Jet's euphoric rush lasts only a few minutes, but subjectively it feels longer, an altered state where time itself bends. It's both psychological and physical. Users quickly redefine normal as the Jet high, and sobriety becomes the alien state. The addiction rate is through the roof, and the chem's availability made it one of the most widely abused substances in Fallout's history. Even after decades, attempts to curb Jet use rarely succeed. Antidotes exist, but production of the chem outpaces cures. Once the Mordino monopoly fell though, Jet exploded into countless variants across different regions. We had Rocket, which was found in the Mojave, made by mixing Jet with Nuka-Cola and detergent for a sharper, faster rush. We also had Turbo, which is yet another Mojave specialty, combining Jet with Cazador poison and Brock flower to slow down time for everyone but the user. We
Damn.
can't forget Jet Fuel, which dropped in the Commonwealth, which was
Yeah,
basically a
Jet Fuel.
concoction blending Jet with flamer fuel for a particularly combustible high.
Holy
And if
crap,
you
these
mix
people
drugs,
trying
you'd
to
have
kill
Buff Jet and
themselves?
Psycho Jet, which are the hybrid mixes with Buff Out or Psycho that turn users into chemically enhanced beasts with slowed perception. And lastly, we also have Ultra Jet, invented by Murphy in the Capital Wasteland for ghouls, whose altered physiology makes regular Jet ineffective. By adding sugar bombs and corrosive chemicals, he created a version twice as potent.
Freaking sugar
Ultra Jet
bombs,
eventually made its
wow.
way to the NCR Southwest and the Commonwealth, cementing Jet's coast-to-coast dominance. Jet was more than recreational though, it was weaponized. Byron's original formula was deliberately engineered to enslave populations, creating chemical dependence immune to standard cures. The Mordinos wielded it like a political tool. Later, the Omertas used Jet and morphine to control sex workers in
Nice
New
outfit.
Vegas, while raider gangs like the Fiends built their entire identities around
Not
being
gonna lie, I
constantly
like that
high.
outfit.
Its cultural spread is staggering. From the burrows in Appalachia, where early survivors were already inhaling Brahmin fumes, to the Mojave's chem fiends, Jet became a universal language of escape. Gangs, caravans, raiders, even vault dwellers found ways to get it. Old Lady Palmer of Vault 101 used to lead expeditions to collect Jet from the wasteland for trade and exploration.
Oh.
Behind the scenes, the idea for Jet came from
bad
Fallout
then.
designer Chris Avalon, inspired by watching his brother use an inhaler for asthma. He imagined a chem that could be delivered the same way, quickly efficient and dangerously habit-forming. Over time, Jet became so integral to Fallout's identity that even development oversights like the accidental mention of Jet on a pre-war terminal in Fallout 4 became part of fan debates about its timeline. This perv was eventually killed in the den, stabbed by a Jet addict less than a year after the Chosen One's victory over the Enclave, but his legacy
Sounds
outlived
right.
him for centuries. Jet transcended its origins, going from a Mordino
Well-
racket to a pillar of wasteland vice. A chem so easy to make and so devastatingly addictive that no regime, no faction, and no cure has ever truly eradicated it, and nothing likely ever will. Jet is a symbol of the wasteland itself, improvised, addictive, widespread, and almost impossible to control. A single huff can turn fear into euphoria, lethargy into speed, despair into something that feels like
Lethargy.
hope. But like everything in Fallout, that hope comes at a cost.
Steady
Well, I know they made a boo-boo, and that's caused people to debate about when it was created. Well, I'm going by the original, which has the most evidence to it, and that is Myron created it post-war. It was not around pre-war. So there.
isn't a polished medtech formula or something made out of a clean lab. No pre-war records ever mention it, and every inhaler that turns up looks handmade. It's an empty Sunsat sarsaparilla bottle turned into a simple vapor rig. You have tinfoil heating, taped glass tubes, and a mouthpiece made from scavenged parts. The result is a field chem that forces precision through chemistry instead of skill. Each one looks different, but they all do the same thing. Lock your body into perfect stillness. No one can say who first mixed it. Some think Great Khan chem traders built it from leftover jet formulas, while others blame independent guns for hire looking for an edge. The compound shuts down tremors, steadies the pulse, and slows down breathing. It doesn't make you stronger or faster. It makes you unnaturally calm. For a sniper or mercenary, that calm can mean everything. The second the inhaler kicks in, your weapon sway vanishes and every bullet lands where it should. Steady's control comes with a heavy price. Its addiction rate is the highest of any chem in the Mojave, 80%. Most users don't even make it past the first inhaler before they're dependent. The drug's actual description says it best: potent, untested, and highly addictive. The formula was never refined or stabilized. It's a random cocktail of stimulants and muscle suppressants that keeps the body balanced for exactly 1 minute. When that balance breaks, the user crashes hard. Heart rate spikes, coordination fails, and hands start to shake. The very symptoms they were trying to stop. That cycle keeps people coming back. Some say the NCR looks the other way when their marksmen use it, because it turns average shooters into professionals. Others say that the Legion scouts loot and sell it despite their ban on chems. There's no proof of either story, but the bottles keep turning up in every corner of the Mojave. Vault 3, Camp McCarran, Gomorrah, even Hopeville. Wherever there's a gunfight, someone's carrying a dose. The Great Khans for sure trade in it. Jack in the Red Rock Canyon sells it freely. The chem doesn't belong to any one faction. It just moves between them all like currency. Jet or Psycho overwhelm the mind, but Steady numbs it. It creates a focus so intense it cuts out fear and instinct. The world goes silent, your breathing sinks to the trigger pull, and killing becomes mechanical. Then when it fades, the body overcorrects. Panic, shaking, the need for another breath from the bottle just to feel centered again. Users start believing they can't shoot straight without it. Its effect resembles the stabilization drugs the pre-war military tested on long-range marksmen, but no surviving record directly connects the two. At least not yet. It's possible some of the data resurfaced after the war and inspired Steady's design. For the Courier, Steady is a precision tool. One inhalation freezes weapon sway completely, letting every shot hit dead center. It's perfect for snipers or VATS users who rely on accuracy, but it's also one of the easiest chems to lose control of. With its 80% addiction rate, using it even once can create a dependency that's nearly impossible to shake. The more you take it, the more you believe you need it. At some point, it becomes the only way to keep your hands from trembling.
One hit, you hooked on it.
Turbo, just like some of the others, isn't a polished pre-war chem. There's no record of it in any vault files, medical terminals, or medtech archives. Every canister looks handmade. A jet inhaler duct taped to a can of Hairstyles brand hairspray. The kind of thing you'd expect from a Great Khan workbench. It's a wasteland creation built by people who already thought jet wasn't fast enough. Instead of speeding the user up, Turbo slows the world down. For a few seconds, everything around you moves in slow motion. Enemies, bullets, explosions, all while you move at normal speed. We do know that the Great Khans might possibly be tied to its origin. In Fallout New Vegas, you can earn the recipe from Diane in the Red Rock Drug Lab during the quest Abba Dabba Honeymoon. That recipe uses 4 ingredients: jet, a Brock flower, a Cazador poison gland, and turpentine. It can be made at a campfire or electric hot plate with a science skill of 50. If the Khans didn't invent Turbo outright, they perfected it. The combination of Jet's stimulant base and the venom from Cazadors gives a brief, violent reaction in the brain, a neurological jolt that distorts time perception. The effect lasts about 3 seconds, but it feels longer. During that moment, the Courier can fire, reload, and move normally while everything else crawls. It doesn't just alter reaction time, it rewrites how the brain interprets it. The user isn't faster, their mind just stops accepting the pace of the world around them. Mixing Jet's amphetamine vapor with venom and solvent would shock the nervous system, raising heart rate and causing strain on blood vessels and vision. Addiction is listed at 20%. Not the highest, but it can be deceptive. It's addictive because reality feels wrong afterward. Once you've seen combat slowed to a crawl, normal speed feels too fast. The Khans treat it like proof that they're still chem innovators, bragging that it gives them an edge over raiders and NCR patrols. Jet itself was already a dangerous chem, as we all know by now. Adding poison to that mix turned it into something worse. Jet re-engineered for control rather than pleasure. For 3 seconds, you own time, and that illusion is enough to destroy people. The addiction is bad. Users don't stumble or slur, they just become detached. Everything around them feels off tempo, like the world won't catch up. There's no confirmed medical description in the Mojave records, but dialogue and chem behavior let us know that withdrawal comes with lost agility, confusion, and mental fatigue. As for the courier, Turbo is one of the closest things to stopping time. It gives a few seconds of total control, perfect for dodging grenades, escaping an ambush, or emptying a clip before anyone can blink. But the slow motion advantage always comes with the same risk: dependence. The more you use it, the harder normal speed feels. Turbo doesn't make you faster, it just makes everything else too slow to bear.
Wow.
Before the
kinda
bombs
scary.
fell, not every chem was about strength or fury. Some were about enlightenment, or at least that's what people like to tell themselves. Daddy-O was the chem of choice for beatniks, intellectuals, and granolas, and counterculture types before the Great War. Injected through a small syringe filled with bright orange liquid, Daddy-O boosts intelligence and perception, sharpening the mind and senses, but at the cost of charisma, making users brilliant and insightful but distant and aloof, and if we're honest with ourselves, often insufferable to talk to. In Fallout 4, it's a rare find, stashed away in places like the South Boston Police Department's toilet bowl, sold by chem dealers in Diamond City and Goodneighbor, or placed in remote Far Harbor bunkers. In Nuka World, you can even score it through the Nuka-cade if you've saved up enough tickets. Culturally, Daddy-O feels like Fallout's take on the mid-century intellectual chem craze, a wasteland sketch of artists and philosophers chasing higher thought through chemical means. It's not about
Tryna
physical
open up that
enhancement or
third
adrenaline
eye,
highs, it's
man.
about clarity, even if that clarity comes at the expense of human connection. Among all the chems scattered across the Mojave,
Well, that was
Hydra
short.
stands out for one key reason. It doesn't just alter your mind, it heals
gonna
your
tell us
body.
what was in it?
Packaged in a Soupy Yum fruit drink bottle
Or do
with
we
3
not know?
glass vials taped around its middle, each feeding into the mouth of the bottle through thin rubber tubes, Hydra looks improvised, and in my opinion, it kind of reminds me of a makeshift bomb. It's a chem born of wasteland ingenuity though, straddling the line between medicine and narcotic. Hydra is used to restore crippled limbs, making it invaluable in New Vegas, especially on hardcore mode where stim packs or sleep can't fix those broken bones. Unlike a doctor's bag, Hydra is weightless and applies its healing effects gradually over 60 seconds. Perfect for drawn-out firefights where limbs keep breaking faster than you can patch them up with. Many NCR field hospitals use it on the front lines, and its scent is so potent you can smell it lingering in places like Camp Forlorn Hope. But this miracle fix, of course, comes at a cost. Hydra has a 10% addiction chance, and withdrawal slams you with -3 endurance, making every fight that much tougher. Excessive use causes dilated pupils, elevated heart rate, sweating, and all the classic hallmarks of chem abuse. It's a practical tool, but like most chems, it can quickly become a crutch. Hydra is scattered throughout the Mojave though, inside NCR facilities, powder ganger hideouts, Legion camps, and Great Con drug labs. You can find doses in places like the Nevada Highway Patrol Station, Silver Peak Mine, the Prospector's Den, or even tucked beneath benches and inside bathtubs. Like other drugs of choice, it's also craftable if you learn the recipe from Jack or Diane at Red Rock Canyon.
Jack and
With a solid survival
Diane.
skill and some cave fungus, you can cook your own supply, especially after the patch Bethesda dropped over a decade ago that reduced ingredient requirements. Honest Hearts' caverns and Lonesome Road's tunnelers make gathering fungi even easier. So if you didn't guess it already, Hydra's name is a nod to Greek mythology, the Hydra whose severed heads
Yeah.
would regrow twofold. Fittingly, this chem regenerates crippled limbs, making the
I got
courier
one
feel
hand to
nearly
more
unstoppable
record in this place.
until the addiction hits.
XL was one of the last great promises of pre-war science, a drug that could enhance every aspect of the human condition at once. Developed as a prototype performance enhancer before the Great War, it was meant to push soldiers and civilians beyond natural limits. But even in the age of wonder drugs and powered armor, this one went a little too far. Clinical trials failed, the research was shelved, and the surviving batches leaked onto the black market, where it became a myth talked about by chem dealers and former scientists. The official description in Fallout 4 calls it a general performance enhancer that never got out of the prototype stage, but was widely distributed on the black market. XL worked, but no one could control it. The chem boosts every special attribute by 2 points for 2 minutes. Strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. It's the only known compound in the series that touches all 7 traits at once. But the side effects match the ambition. Addiction carries a 35% chance, and when it takes hold, each of those same attributes drops by 1. The result is the body collapsing under the weight of its own overstimulation.
Oh
The
my.
drug comes in a small metal inhaler, similar to the designs used for Jet or Calmex. That design implies rapid bloodstream delivery, inhaled vapors that trigger an instant full body reaction. The exact chemistry is unknown, but the inhaler's design might mean it's a synthetic adrenal or neurostimulant, meant to push every metabolic system into overdrive. Like a lot of pre-war projects, it likely crossed the line between medicine and military experiment. X-Cell was power in a canister, and no one cared what it did to the people who used it. After the bombs fell, the formula survived in trace amounts. In the Commonwealth, X-Cell is one of the rarest chems in existence. Only a few doses can be found, and it occasionally appears for sale at shops. It even shows up as a prize in Nuka World's Nukacade. In Fallout 76, the chem shows up again. Or, well, before, timeline-wise. It's nearly identical in effect and addiction rate. For the sole survivor or any wanderer who finds it, X-Cell is raw advantage. 2 minutes of absolute clarity and control. Every stat, every skill sharpened to its peak, but it's also a trap. The crash hits harder than the high, and the addiction can strip away the very traits it enhances.
Wow.
Used in moderation, it can turn a losing fight into survival. Used carelessly, it reminds you why the pre-war world didn't survive its own ingenuity.
If Jet is the Wasteland's working man's pick-me-up,
Oh my
then
God, there's
Afterburner Gum
something
is its nuclear-fueled cousin. Originally
worse than
appearing in
that.
Fallout Tactics, this potent methamphetamine chewing gum hits the central nervous system hard. The initial
A
euphoric surge lasts only a few
methamphetamine
minutes,
chewing gum.
but in that brief window, users
Wow.
experience a flood of energy and strength and raw intensity, similar to cocaine but more cocaine-y and in Fallout form.
Cocaine.
You won't stumble across this stuff at your average trading post though. Afterburner is rare and valuable, found on unlucky civilians, in Vault Zero on a corpse, or clutched by super mutants in Jefferson. There is a quirky encounter where either Little Boy or Fat Man might be packing a piece, so if you're playing Tactics and want a new addiction, now you know. Mechanically, it mirrors Jet from Fallout 2, but with a twist. Its addiction is only temporary, burning hot and fast rather than permanently wrecking your system. It was even planned to return in Van Buren, sold by the character Anson, cementing its place as one of the Wasteland's most intense, fleeting highs. But of course that didn't come to fruition, so for now, we only get to experience it in 2D. Not every chem in the Wasteland comes from a
Talking too
lab.
loud.
Some ooze straight out of
Oh,
nature.
ant nectar.
Ant nectar is one of those
Ew.
random yet surprisingly effective natural substances, secreted by the mutated giant ants that roam the capital Wasteland and Mojave. It's not as energetic or as chewy as the Afterburner Gum, but it's more slurpable and super steroidy from a bug's abdomen type of substance. Regular ant nectar is cracked though. Upon consumption, it boosts the user's strength dramatically, turning even a scrawny scavenger into a powerhouse capable of taking on any raider gang.
Oh, wow.
But this brute force comes at a cost. Your intelligence and charisma take a nosedive, leaving you strong but dim-witted, so depending on the situation, it can sometimes be worthwhile.
Like a rhino.
Then there's fire ant nectar, secreted by the
Oh
more
my God, those
dangerous
things
fire
look
ant
like
variants.
they came
This
from
version
hell.
is spicier, literally. Drinking it
Hellfire
increases
ants.
agility while gutting your intelligence even more severely than the standard kind. On top of that, it grants a 25% fire resistance buff, making it a rare chem that actually offers both physical and defensive perks. It can be super handy if you're planning to wade into a flamethrower enemy type of fight. And finally, the Queen's secret weapon, Ant Queen pheromones, sometimes
Oh.
referred to as Ant Queen nectar. This is no combat booster though. This is Fallout's version of Liquid Charm. It's a potent aphrodisiac that raises charisma significantly, kind of like oysters, except this substance
Makes
actually
sense.
works. The downside is that it tanks intelligence and perception, so while you might sweet talk your way through a settlement, you probably won't notice the Deathclaw sneaking up behind you. Fun
Uh-oh.
fact though, this chem is a cheeky nod to the Elder Scroll 3 Morrowind's Telvanni Bug Musk, a perfume so
Ew.
persuasive the game literally says even a barbarian can be persuaded wearing it. Bethesda clearly has a thing for insect-based charm enhancers, so whether you're going for raw power, agility, or charisma, these bug-borne substances prove you don't always need a chemistry set to get you hooked. Sometimes, all it takes is a hungry scavenger and a giant ant secretion.
Gross.
We hope you enjoyed the video on addictive substances within the Wasteland, but if you're into creepy Fallout lore, stay tuned and consider subbing. We really do appreciate you guys watching, and remember, enjoyed time is never wasted time, and we'll see you in the next.
Good video. Might check them out again. In conclusion, don't do drugs, kids. Alright, I will be right back. So don't you go away. Okay, dokie, we're back. Next. Hello, next. There we go.
And so it was
Oh, shit, sorry.
for making 4 of your 6 DLCs about building settlements. You have been sentenced to death by Atom's holy fire.
Hang on.
But before we do that, I better review the games first.
Yeah.
So after the release of Fallout 4, Bethesda put out 6 whole expansions for it. DLCs, if you will. To keep things simple for this video, I'm gonna play and then review them in the order Todd released them onto our souls. The very first one released was the Automatron DLC. We got Automaton, Automatron, or Automatron. Automatron. So this DLC starts off with you saving a load of people from some robots, and there's only one survivor from the attack, a robot called Ada, who joins you as a companion. And Bethesda, guys, if you're gonna make us pay $10 for a 3-hour DLC, maybe give the new companion you make a proper run animation. Don't just speed up their walk animation, I can tell. So in this DLC, robots that shoot apparently nothing but fireworks are terrorizing the Commonwealth. You can put the chair up if you want. The robots are all being sent by someone called the Mechanist with the stated goal of killing all of the raiders in the Commonwealth. But they are misinterpreting their programming and killing everyone they meet. The bulk of this DLC is fighting your way to the Mechanist through their underground lair. And initially what stands out to me about this DLC is how much better it looks than the base game. I've harped on about this before. Whoever says harped, I've gone on about this loads before, but as we've seen even in Starfield recently, the lighting in the Creation Engine is just so bad. It makes many areas in these games look awful. So to combat that, they've kept this DLC all dark and moody. I'm gonna put this down. I honestly do think this is why the Fallout London
Another guy with the with those ADHD fueled spazzy edits. My favorite.
mod is so dark just to totally avoid Bethesda's lighting engine. Or is it because it's correctly simulating British weather? It's the middle of the day. Is my skin too shiny because of all the oils I've put on it? What also works about this DLC is the setting the Mechanist has chosen for their lair. This area before the war is where subjects were taken to have their brains removed and turned into robo-brains. And as you travel through here, you can read the transcripts of the experiments that were performed on them, and it's pretty grim.
I can't see, oh my god. What have you people done to me?
Oh god.
I can't feel my body. I can't feel anything, please. For the love of God, tell me what the hell you've done!
Combine this with the creepy music and dark visuals, and this creates a pretty effective tone. Outside of this though, this DLC is pretty standard stuff. The whole thing only has 3.
Why did that voice actor kind of sound like Sea Dog? Connor Dog.
Fairly simple characters. And the main bulk of the Mechanist lair is one long non-stop battle with literally hundreds of the walking light shows that are these robots. Oh god. Who wrote this? The final fight especially, you just stand in the middle of the lair, shooting one robot after another, like a game of Duck Hunt that just never seems to end. Then, after you've killed enough robots to populate Iceland, the Mechanist surrenders and gives you control of her lair. Ha! When did Fallout become so woke? Next thing you know, I'll be played by a woman.
Hey guys, Up is Not Man here.
Don't put your arms out too far. Then after you beat the Mechanist, you unlock a series of quests that you can do for her, which involves hunting down more. Then after robots. And not only does receiving these quests give us some of the best dialogue in the game.
Tracking? Yes. 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 Yes.
Out the worst quests in this entire game, and that.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure the video volume isn't so loud that you can't hear me, because I've noticed I've been having problems with that.
really is saying something. Basically, she gives you a quest marker on your map where you can go to find one of her rogue robots. You then travel to that location, kill one robot, travel back to the Mechanist, talk with her.
Yes, 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 yes.
She gives you the location of another robot, and that's it. You just repeat this
saw
infinitely.
that.
Jesus Christ, why bother? Why not just sell copies of Automatron that you open and they contain one middle finger? How is it so long? The other big selling point of this mod, of course, is it unlocks the ability for you to build your own robots, and also mix and match robot parts on existing robots. So now you can have a Mr. Handy with 2 arms. Well, slow down, Bethesda. And sure, this is nice and all, but to what end? I've completed the game. There's nothing else to do. I'm 35. It's time to lower the energy. The only purpose I really found for any of this was building robots that let me commit copyright infringement.
Robot daughters? This here is Ludabelle 7.
Yoo-hoo!
Daisy May 128K.
Yoo-hoo!
And the Crushinator.
Yoo-hoo. Oh yeah, I made that. Let's play another.
You think you could help me out? Whatever.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, welcome to the club, pal.
Okay, we need to move on. Oh look, a DLC dedicated to the game's settlement base building. No, I can do this! Wasteland Workshop. This fucking Wasteland Workshop gives you loads of new items to craft in your settlements. But its main feature is the ability for you to build traps. So that you can capture various wasteland animals or people.
I'd like to build traps, but I'm thinking of a different kind of trap. If you know what I mean. Elweeb, I'm about a decade younger. Oh, you're 25. Or close to that, right? Baby. Still baby.
People. You can then use these captured creatures to hold fights in your settlements. Oh no, we're moving on. The official trailer for this DLC weirdly just starts with a load of random fights and explosions, adequately summarizing how Bethesda sees Fallout as a series nowadays. But eventually it does show us what the DLC is about. You see, the way it works is you build the cage and then you wait for the appropriate thing to be caught. I know where I am. This for me took 6 full 24-hour wait cycles within the game. But can your time really be wasted when you're doing something pointless? Then once you caught something, you can assign a follower to fight it. In the trailer, they used Preston Garvey, so in my game, I did the same and began the fight. But the thing is with all of this, Preston can't die. So this fight never ends. It just goes on and on. I left my settlement for several days, came back, and they were still fighting.
Damn,
it's like
Preston.
Gandalf and the Balrog over here. Also, most of what you can capture to stage fights, like the Gunners, Raiders, Super Mutants, Feral Ghouls, when you release them, every single person in your settlement will attack as well. So if you want to stage one-on-one fights with these creatures, you have to build walls around the entire fight. And not only is, of course, the base building in this game an absolute disaster. What have you done, Todd? It also means people can't.
Well, you see, that's why I got mods to fix the settlement building. Very handy mods.
Watch the fights that you set up, which I thought was the whole damn point. So yes, this DLC only costs $5, so it's hardly the end of the world, but I can think of at least one better way to use $5.
5 smackaroonies.
It's definitely gone. I'd climb out after it, but I'm not wearing any trousers.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, son.
Don't say son.
But speaking of fog, now is a great time to mention this video's sponsor, War Thunder.
Who's Preston? You know, Fallout 4.
War Thunder is by far the most
Minutemen leader.
comprehensive vehicle combat game out there, and is available
The
now
one that
for free
everybody
on PC,
clowns on
consoles,
for their
and mobile
settlement
devices.
quests.
War Thunder has over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships, spanning everything. I personally really love this right into it. War Thunder also has a community of 90
War Thunder
right 6 months on PC.
But
The
I don't
exclusive
care
Eagle
because
of
I like
Valor
settlement
Decorator,
quests. I'm like one of the
100,000
very
silver
few
lions,
people that
and
seems
7
to like
days of
settlement
premium
quests.
account. And that's it of the Fog of War, now back to the Fog of Far Harbor. In this DLC, we come to a
Nice
foggy island
transition.
in search of a missing lady. When we get here, though, we find
segue,
3
or
factions fighting to survive. Far Harbor, which has a radioactive fog creeping in, threatening to kill them. Acadia, which is a group of synths led by Nick Valentine's brother, Dima. And the Children of Atom, a religious group who believes the bombs dropping was a holy event, as every split atom results in the creation of a new universe within them. I just want to make sure we can see the shoes. And overall, this DLC is probably the best thing Bethesda has done since the Oasis quest in Fallout 3. And it looks like That won't ever change. Far Harbor is without a doubt better than Fallout 4 in every single way. The writing, characters, overarching plot, it's all great. So what have I written? It's all an improvement. Its terrible visuals have also been fixed here too. In this case, by making it so that we can't even see them. What's really bugging me is there's a label on the back of this and it's wriggling up my butt. In Far Harbor, we have to decide which of these factions to help or hinder. But what makes these DLCs so good and so much better than the base game is how well these factions are characterized. They've all been so well written that you can sympathize with each group here, and they all have relatable pros and cons. It meant when playing, I genuinely found it difficult to decide who to help, and there was really no right answer. Also, just take a look at the art direction in this DLC.
I go with... No, I don't. I don't play Fallout. Oh, okay, well. Never mind then. I go with whatever choice makes Nick Valentine happiest, because he's my Fallout husbando. So yeah, whatever makes Nikki happy. He's the one you need to take with on that DLC, by the way. That's why I said Nick Valentine. Because, you know, he gets to meet the brother he didn't know he had, Dima. That's a pretty neat trailer, I'll give him that. Very atmospheric, excuse me.
Just look how striking the Children of Atom's base and leader look. It all really effectively shows how deeply insane their religion has made them. And it's the same with Dima and all of his augmentations. It shows how far he is willing to push himself to achieve his goals. Speaking of Dima, he is by far my favorite character in this whole DLC, possibly the entire game. He believes that he's a good person and wants peace through peaceful means. And almost always in sci-fi plots like this, the character would just be lying or have a warped view of reality. But the twist in this story, spoiler warning, is that whenever someone gets in the way of Dima's vision for peace, he simply murders them and then wipes his memory so that his conscience remains clear. And you see, I've watched a lot of sci-fi. Weird flex. And this is definitely one of the best executions of a character like this that I've ever seen. It's great. It's like if Data was a serial killer, but he just had no idea. All the evidence points towards me, Captain. I think the best example of the writing in this DLC is when Dima asks
Not my
us if we
cinnamon
are a
roll.
synth. And of course, we say no, but then he keeps going.
Not
He
my
explains
Star
how
Trek
most
cinnamon
synths
roll.
have fake memories and asks us to really think. How far back can we remember? And out of nowhere, Nora reveals that, like us the player, she only remembers as far back as being in front of that bathroom mirror at the start of the game, and remembers nothing else of her earlier life. Now this is really interesting because not only does it retroactively fix Fallout 4's terrible opening, it also ends up being a kind of meta commentary on the relationship between a player and the person they're controlling, while at the same time
Well, I got
creating
4
a more
viewers. Hey,
personal,
guys.
emotional connection to them. I'm sorry, but who the f wrote this DLC, and where were they when Father was being written? Now, that's not all to say all of Far Harbor's missions are good.
What the
fuck is this piece of shit? But outside of this DLC's plot, things are pretty good as well. I'm a really weird writer.
Yeah.
The darker visuals and radioactive fog make this area
Yeah, but I
feel
love your weird
distinctly
writing.
different from the base game.
It's entertaining.
However, if you're thinking the radioactive fog creates a new gameplay challenge where you need to keep searching for anti-radiation meds as surviving the environment becomes a key aspect of the exploration. Wait, what? No, it doesn't. See, unlike the New Vegas DLCs, you're able to come to Far Harbor with as much gear as you can carry.
Oh my
so I, of course, have
God.
enough Radex and Radaway to make the radiation here nothing more than a gentle breeze. Also, speaking of gear, because you can bring all of your most powerful weapons to Far Harbor, you really have no need for all of the new weapons this section introduces. And I just think it's really bad design. Imagine arriving in this hostile environment with nothing, and the only thing you're given is the new harpoon gun. You would be forced to rely on this thematically appropriate single-shot weapon while wandering through the creepy fog. I just think this location and all of the gear available could have been balanced to make it a much more engaging experience. It really could have been the icing on this delicious robot.
Ew.
Overall, I
dude,
thought
what
this
the
DLC
hell?
was really good, especially since it only
That-
costs... Oh wait, I spat that out too early.
Ugh, brother, ugh, what was that? No, brother. I love how he put, I regret this. It's like, why did I do that? It wasn't worth it.
Sorry, let's do that again. Especially since...
Oh my gosh. Contraptions.
All right, here we go. Another DLC entirely about settlements and crafting. With this DLC installed, you can now build contraptions.
Yay.
And they work a little bit like the game Mousetrap. I actually built a giant contraption when this DLC came out, and it shows off this workshop better than I could ever describe.
Great.
Go. Oh.
So we can build us some complicated Rube Goldberg machines.
That's right, it's the most entertaining video ever made. The thing is, outside of what you've seen there isn't really anything else in this DLC to talk about. All I know is while making that video, I learned that the contraption workshop is absolute bullshit. There is a bit in my giant contraption where some
I don't even
balls are
remember
released.
getting it.
Just tuck them in. And these balls, and these balls, and these balls, and these balls, and these balls activate these switches, which then in turn activate these firework launchers. We all good? We understand? No, this was all
IRL
fake. None of this
Mousetrap
worked.
that-
This is
Mousetrap
Bethesda
that
we're
looks
talking
like some
about.
Looney
In
Tunes
reality,
Tom
these
and Jerry
ball
shit.
switches just
Yeah,
don't
pretty
work.
much.
In every instance, they just immediately turn off and the firework launchers aren't activated. Hypothesis. The balls have to stay in the switch, so the switch...
So, like, yeah, when I said I don't even know if remember if I've got it. Balls to the wall. Exactly. Like, I got the Game of the Year edition, which was supposed to have all the DLC to it, so I just assumed that I have it. But it's like, that's how, like, insignificant. No, not fuck balls. Quiet, Sonia. Watch your language. But yeah, it's like so insignificant, like I don't even remember it being in there, but it's gotta be, because it's supposed to have all the DLC.
Which will stay on, and then the fireworks will fire. And so I tried that. I blocked the ramp and then set the balls running. But when the balls stop at the switch, now the switch just doesn't turn on at all. Also, for those wondering, here is a single ball switch system. The ball goes through, the switch stays on after that, and the fireworks fire. Solution. Only ever use one ball switch in any closed contraption, as that works correctly. Great. Problem solved. No, it is not solved. That just means this DLC has no purpose. All of these contraptions have absolutely no tangible in-game use. They're just here for fun. And the fun here is produced by building complex contraptions that let you do impressive stunts. But if it isn't able to do that, then it's just failed at its stated goal.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
You lit someone's balls on fire would be goodness gracious. Yes, it would. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, Johnny Cage can fight. Well, hell yeah. Yeah, Great Balls of Fire, written and sung by, oh, I know his name. Jerry Lee Lewis, who went on to marry his 13-year-old niece. Yep. Anywho.
Finally. It's over. All the crafting and workshop DLCs are done.
I love how the cat's just chilling back there. Oh, the Vault Tech DLC, yeah. I don't really use it.
Bethesda released 2 paid DLCs back-to-back that do nothing but let you build new objects in your settlements. What is this? Bethesda?
Yeah.
With this DLC, you are now able to build vault-themed settlements and also start and run your own vault. And the thing is, I actually quite like this DLC.
Yeah,
oh no, there goes my credibility. Look, these are the 2 workshop DLC. They just
really
added shit to your build menu and nothing
that,
else.
though.
They barely even had the slightest semblance of a tutorial on how all the new items worked. The Vault-Tec Workshop, though, actually has a scripted story where you need to track down the overseer of Vault 88, and with them you can start your own vault. As part of this, you interview Wastelanders for their eligibility to be Vault Dwellers, travel the Wasteland gathering blueprints for new items you can craft, and conduct experiments on your new Vault Dwellers. The experiments you run even affect the stats of your settlement, meaning they actually have an in-game use. Look, it's not going to win any awards, but I thought it was quite fun for what it was. Oh no! The thing is, you all know how I feel about this game's settlement building. I'm not gonna forget this. But undeniably, the settlement building is a big part of Fallout 4. When this game came out, it was largely what people spoke about and shared. And to this day is one of the main reasons people are still playing Fallout 4. Yeah. However, when you make a game in the Fallout series and a huge part of that game's marketing is about how you are going to be able to build settlements, and you design the game so that a major part of the exploration is about collecting items so that you can use them to craft more settlements, and you fill the game with 30 different unlockable settlements, choosing to make it so that none of these settlements is allowed to be a vault, the most recognizable aspect of Fallout as a brand, and only allowing people to build vault settlements if they pay an extra $5 on the base game price, is such a dick move. I expect all of Bethesda's genitals have changed zip code. I think all that needs rewriting.
That's better than what I could come up with. If you caught a fire-type Pokemon using a Great Ball, would it be, goodness gracious, Great Ball of Fire? Yes, it would. About that DLC, like I said, I didn't really care about having it. Like, after I did the initial, like, tutorial level where we recruit a guy and use him for, experiments to get the vault running and all, after that, I just kind of didn't finish it. Where it just like, alright, you can just, it sets you free, you can do what you want with your, new vault settlement now. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I didn't really care about doing it. I mean, that's cool if you wanted to run a vault, but, I wasn't really interested, so, yeah.
Nuka World fucking sucks. I'm here. Look, I want to say up front that clearly a lot of work went into this DLC, with its visual design especially being some of the best in the entire series. The variety of environments, the rides, the Nuka Quantum River, and all of the park's surrounding areas all look distinctly different and interesting. So much work went into this, so much love and care, but it's just rubbish. The problem is with this DLC's story. See, in the Nuka World DLC, you travel to the pre-war theme park Nuka World and find it to be overrun with raiders. The only real option you're given in this whole DLC is to join and help the raiders. If you don't do this, most of the DLC's content immediately becomes locked out. And this was a shame for me, because in this game I was role-playing as a good guy. But hey, it's been a long week of my character doing things that she would never normally do. Yeah, build that ball track. Let's become King of the Raiders.
King of the Raiders.
What happens is, we arrive to Nuka World, and within about 30 minutes, we've killed its existing leader, and we're made the new Raider King. And after this, we are told that there are 3 Raider factions in Nuka World, and we're gonna have to decide who to support. The issue with all of this, though, is outside of how these Raiders look, there isn't really any difference between them. And I talked to all of these different Raider leaders at length, but all I learned was, Mags of the Operators wants caps, Nisha of the Disciples doesn't want caps, but Mason of the Pack, well, he's different. No, he wants caps. The game asks you to back one of these people, but I'm sure no one really had any idea who to pick. I even did several quests for each faction, hoping to learn more about them, but it just made things worse. See, in the first rounds of quests that these leaders give you, Nisha asks you to put a slave collar on someone.
Yeah, I have not yet gotten around to playing these DLCs. Far Harbor and Nuka World. I know a little bit more about Far Harbor than I do Nuka World, but yeah. So.
Mags asks you to murder someone,
oh
and
my God.
Leaders give you. Nisha asks you to put a slave collar on someone, Mags asks you to murder someone, and Mason, well, he's different. No, he asks you to put a slave collar on someone. Even when I ask each of them for more information on the target they've set for me, here's how it goes down.
Who are we talking about here? Some raiders. Who are we talking about here?
Some nobody.
Who are we talking about here?
Super mutants. And then, having learned nothing about any of these factions, we then have to go clear out Nuka World for one of them. I chose the first to clear out Galaxy Zone as it was the closest to me. And this is it, people. I found it. This is officially the worst quest in Fallout's history, if you exclude all of Fallout 76. I arrive to Galaxy Zone and find that I have to explore the area and collect 20 star cores. Ooh, star core. And so off I go. And unlike Far Harbor, there are no new enemies here. Just every single kind of robot in the Fallout canon over and over and over and over and over and over. Galaxy Zone has got to be the biggest area in this entire game. It took me well over an hour and a half of non-stop fighting to get through its many sections.
Oh my gosh.
Just look at this. Look at it. And it's like this everywhere. Every inch of this park.
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh,
the same
it's so
thing
chaotic.
for hours and hours. And also keep in mind that Galaxy Zone is just one of 5 areas that I need to clear out. And while, yeah, they're all vastly different in theme, the gameplay is all exactly the same. In Kiddie Kingdom, you kill 100 ghouls. Nuka World Bottling Plant, 1,000 miler. Safari Adventure, 10,000 gator claws. But Dry Rock Gulch, now, that's different. In this area, a new enemy is introduced to the Fallout canon, and thus we must explore and learn about. Now you just fucking decimate them! After clearing each area, you then have to decide which of the 3 factions you want running Nuka World. Wow. And unlike Far Harbor, where it was difficult because you had to weigh up the many moral and socio-economic factors, here it was just difficult because I couldn't remember the difference between the disciples and the operators. Then, after you've decided who gets what, you return to the raiders. And here is where I expected to find them arguing about my decisions. But instead, we're told by Shank here, who the fuck is Shank? That we are going to spread our influence into the Commonwealth. And from here, the DLC shifts completely and becomes entirely about building settlements.
Again.
Excuse me for 1 minute.
Oh no.
And so it was decreed by Holy Atom, for making 4 of your 6 DLCs about building settlements, you have been sentenced to death by Atom's holy fire.
Burn it! Burn it! Burn, baby, burn! Oh, are we done evil laughing?
Yeah,
okay.
like that. That's pretty good. Oh, and don't forget you can play War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile using my links in the pinned comment or description. If you're a new or returning player on PC or console, you'll get the exclusive bonus pack. Premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor Decorator, 100,000 silver.
Anyways, that is Up Is Not Jump. I've been watching his videos about Fallout. Excuse me, for a while. He's good, he's funny, and like I said, he's got that editing style that I like. Ooh, excuse me.
Alliance and 7 days of premium account. Thank you all so much, everyone. And oh, here's all of my patrons who are as handsome as they are intelligent.
I can't with Beavis and Butthead.
There's quite a lot of them. Just look at all those handsome and equally intelligent people. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Thanks.
Oh my goodness, that's loud.
Mario Victim Number 1. Mario is a creepypasta surrounding a disturbing ROM hack of the game Super Mario World. This creepypasta story involves a moderator on the ROM hack site Super Mario World Central named Adam, who discovers a hack simply titled Mario. While playing, Adam finds out that the game contains a lot of creepy levels, spooky messages, and as well references to a mysterious character known as Victim Number 1. What made this creepypasta popular though was an image that was hidden within its files. This image, it's so incredibly haunting. As a kid, I hated this image.
Oh yeah,
I remember it very well. What was this photo actually of though? Many people over the years grew very curious of its origins, and so investigation would start into tracking down the unedited version of this image. There were many different theories thrown around. Many people believe that this image was maybe a highly edited Fatal Frame image. Some people even thought it was maybe Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. The most popular theory though was that the image was a GIMP Photoshop edit of a band member. An idea would later come around that maybe it was an edit of a member from the band Dir en Grey, if I pronounced that right.
What?
And it turned out that this theory was correct. Eventually, the image was amazingly found. On September 2nd, 2023, Discord user God had posted the unedited photo to the Victim Cord Discord server. Turns out that this image is actually a cosplay photo of the band and came from Flickr. And with this, the long search had come to an end. SpongeBob SquarePants 4D pre-show video.
That he wore when he walked on the moon? Oh yeah, you're pretty small. What the hell? Where did that come from? Is that like actual from the show, or did you make that up?
In 2003, there was this SpongeBob motion simulator ride called SpongeBob SquarePants 4D. It was in many different locations. It would debut at Flamingo Land Resort and would be at many Paramount Park locations. This ride revolved around SpongeBob teaching the people how to make a Krabby Patty. However, after losing a pickle, it would turn into a wild chase to get the pickle back. It was a memorable ride that a lot of people loved. While people would wait in line for this ride, there would be many TVs around in the queue, showing a pre-show video of SpongeBob in a line remembering memories from the show. This ride eventually closed, and this pre-show video hadn't been seen since. The only things that were left available of it were a couple photos and incredibly brief clips.
Yeah, Michael Jordan mixed
On
up
July
with it.
5th, 2025,
Yeah, I got that. I just meant like,
Twitter
is that
user
from the
Lost
show?
Media Busters
Like,
made
actually?
a post about this Lost SpongeBob pre-show video. A user had replied to this post saying they actually had the whole pre-show video downloaded. They revealed that they saved an old YouTube upload of it before it was deleted. And a day later, the entire pre-show video was sent to the Lost Media Busters, who had uploaded it to their YouTube channel.
Of all the ships I've been on, I think my favorite is Friendship. Are you ready to go jellyfish?
Disgusting Domino's people.
What?
2 Domino's employees facing charges tonight, and this is why. A shocking video that hit the web. It shows them allegedly messing with your food. They have turned themselves in, and tonight we've learned they will be charged. News Channel 36 reporter Tony Burback is live now at the Catawba County Jail.
And we have a lot of new information about...
In 2009, 5 different videos were uploaded to YouTube. In these videos, 2 Domino's workers would do lots of disgusting and strange stuff. Michael Setzer would contaminate food with his nostrils and buttocks, with Christy Hammonds narrating and filming everything, stating that the contaminated food will be sent to
I don't know, I
customers.
also
Obviously, these videos were shocking
like their
and people
commentary
were
on
furious.
just, like,
Sort of a Burger
stuff
King
that's
foot letter
on,
situation, but times 1,000. The videos got pretty
MTV
popular and would receive more than 1 million views. With the videos going viral, eventually the 2 workers were identified and charged with a felony of food contamination and received short sentences and probation. It's a pretty memorable and just crazy situation. Domino's did everything they could to get these videos off the internet,
I
and
imagine.
they did a pretty good job. Despite these videos going quite viral, the videos somehow were never archived, and all 5 videos had become lost media. The only footage left available were small snippets from news reports. In 2024, a YouTuber who goes by...
Oh, I remember hearing about this shit. I'm surprised Beavis and Butthead didn't end up like that for what they did at Burger World, right? Nightcrawler, Curly Fry. Oh, don't remind me of that. Ew. Dead mouse burger and French. Ew. That's so nasty. I remember them frying a dead mouse on the fryer because they were like bored, and yeah. Thought it was funny. That episode reminds me of this. Yeah. That's so nasty.
Sizron had decided to try and find
French
all these
fly.
missing videos.
Shut up, dude. You're gonna make me
And in their
sick. I just got
search,
through eating.
managed to find 2 of the missing 5. These 2 were Sneeze Sticks and Domino's Pizza special ingredients. Sizeron had also mentioned that he actually discovered that a website known as goodasyou.org featured all of the videos and was allegedly archived by the site's owner.
Hang on a sec. Why'd the stream go mute? Oh, because I had to... Luna was talking to me. I'm gonna go make her some dinner real quick, so I will be back in just a little bit. So, yeah, don't go away. Actually, you know what? I should probably go ahead and end it, because I'm going to be a while, and it's already getting late. So, we'll, continue this last video, next time. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and, close us out. The heck are you posting in here, Mert? Have some storage in my hurt you. Yeah. Yeah, who you want to raid? Ooh, somebody's playing Eternal Darkness? Oh yeah, let's go for that one. Yeah, Eternal Darkness. Okay. Hang on, let me, can I have my mouse, please, sir? Thank you. Let me, copy that name. Did I put the wrong slash? Shit. Okay. Alright. Ovo White Crow? Is that how you say their name? So, oh. So, yeah, they're gonna play, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. Saturday Chill Stream, come back tomorrow for Spooky Sunday, and I'll see you guys. Wait. Hang on, let me find them. Alright. I'll see you guys next time. Love you, bye.